Today we're going to learn a lesson on scientific notation. This is probably one of the easiest lessons that I teach because the calculator is going to do all of the work for you. Have y'all learned this yet in science? No scientific notation? You'll also learn it in science this year, so you'll just kind of already know it. So before we get started, I want to talk to you about powers of 10. You should have learned this when you were younger. So when you multiply any number by a 10, tell me what happens. Don't say add 0. Why do I not say add 0? Here, I'll give you... That might make more sense. You move the decimal one place to the right. Now, why would you not say add a 0? Because that doesn't work for every problem. Yes? On this one, it would work because the decimal happens to be here. But on this one, adding a 0 just makes it the same value. Okay, so when you multiply by a power of 10, you simply move the decimal one place to the right. Does this make sense? Okay, so what happened is scientists, they deal with really, really big and really, really little numbers, like maybe the weight of a feather or like the distance from Earth to the sun. And they got tired of writing these numbers because they're so long. Yes, and there's usually like a lot of zeros in them. So they came up with another way to write a number that doesn't change its value. So real quick, y'all know that I can write 1/4 as 25 cents. Yes? Do these have the exact same value? Yes, they're just written in different forms. So what I'm going to teach you today is how to write a number in another form without changing its value. Yes? Okay, so here's what scientific notation does. It takes a number and uses powers of 10 to express it. The rule is there can only be one digit before the decimal, and the digit cannot be 0. So it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's it, because there can only be one digit here. Over here, there can be whatever you need to be. Okay, so for example, 2.2, and then you multiply by a power of 10, and the exponent tells you how many places the decimal would move. So if I had an exponent of 3, isn't that 10 times 10 times 10? So how many times would I move the decimal? 3 places to the right, and that's what scientific notation is. So this would have the same value as 2,200, because this decimal moved 1, 2, 3. Make sense? Yes or no? All right, so if I had a number like 2,600,000, how would I write this in scientific notation? The 2 would go first, yes, then put a decimal, then what? Then leave off the zeros, multiplied by a power of 10, and how many times did I move the decimal from here to here? It moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Easy? Okay, now, opposite, really, really, really little numbers have negative exponents. Okay, so like if I had 0.000026 and I wanted to express that in scientific notation, which of these digits would go first? 2.6 times 10. I move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places, but to go from here to here, I would go to the left. It's a really tiny number, so it would be a -6. In scientific notation, you can absolutely have negative exponents. You don't have to worry about moving them to the bottom. Okay? Now, the cool thing is your calculator will do all of this for you, so what I just taught you, it's not even important that you know. I just wanted y'all to see how easy it is. Okay? So, I'm going to now teach you how to do it in your calculator. Now, all the rules that I've taught you would still apply to this, but the problem is scientific notation, to be correctly written, has to be in this form where that first number is between 1 and 9, and it can't have more than one digit, right? So we're not going to use the rules today, we're just going to use the calculator. All right, so just to go over it, it says when multiplying powers with the same base, what do? Add the exponents. When dividing powers with the same base, what do? Subtract the exponents. Now, again, we're not going to use those rules today because it won't always put it in correct scientific notation mode. It would give you the same value, though. Okay? All right. Here's the cool thing. To put a number in scientific notation, if you don't want to do it by hand, your calculator will do it if you change your calculator's mode. So everybody go to your calculator. Go to mode. Let me zoom in. Now, if you have my calculator, then you'll have this extra line up here that says Math, Print, and Classic. If you have the yellow or black calculator from the library, yours is just going to start with normal, SCI, and ENG. Yes? Right now, what is highlighted in black? That means our answers are going to give it to us in normal. Tab over to SCI. Now, right now, you haven't done anything. You have to hit enter. So hit enter. Now, normal is not highlighted, but SCI is. What we have told our calculator is to give us every answer in scientific notation mode. Okay, so go back to your home screen by hitting second quit, which is second mode. Now, let's put in something we already know. Let's put in 50 plus 25. What's the answer supposed to be? 75. What did the calculator do? It turned 75, that is 75, into scientific notation mode. Now, what the calculator is not going to do is say times 10. So the way that you would write this is 7.5 times 10 with an exponent of 1. So just to show y'all, 7.5 times 10 with an exponent of 1 is the same thing as 75. How many times would I move the decimal? Once to the right. Is that the same thing as 75? Yes. Okay. So your calculator will do all of this for you. Make sense? Yes? Now, if you want to get back to normal, what will you have to do? You have to go back to mode, highlight normal, and hit enter. But we're going to stay in scientific notation for this. Okay? All right. So let's go to our paper. Let's go turn these numbers into scientific mode. Now, do y'all want to try to do one by hand just to see? It's super easy. Like, honestly, some of them are so easy I don't even use the calculator. Like, so for this one, what would go first? 4.5. What's the rule? Times 10. And then you would just count. How many times did it take to get from here to here? And you would just go, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If the number is really, really big, then it's a positive exponent. And if it's like a decimal, like below 1, then it's a negative exponent. All right, but how do you put it in your calculator? This is how. Everybody listen. You put this number in, but you do not put commas. You do put decimals. You do not put commas. So you would put in 450 with 6 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit enter, and that's your answer. Did I get the exact same thing? Yes, so you just see you have to write it 4.5 times 10 with an exponent of 8. All right, try this one on your own. Try to do it by hand first and then put it in your calculator. Did y'all get 1.2 times 10 with an exponent of 9? Easy? Yes? Okay. Now, what's going to be the difference between these? Your exponent's going to be negative because these numbers are really tiny. They're less than 1. Okay? So let's write it by hand first. What would this be? 9 times 10. Now, we move the decimal from here to here, so you would just count 1, 2, 3. We moved it 4 times, but because it's less than 1, the exponent's negative. And again, your calculator will do this for you. So to put it in my calculator, simply type it in. You do have to put the decimal. Okay, so I put in 0.00098, and it will give me the exact same answer. Yes? Good. All right, try this one on your own. Now, you absolutely could have done 4.0, but it's the same thing as 4. And guys, I'm perfectly fine with y'all using your calculator. You don't have to do them by hand. It's just sometimes I feel like it's faster to do it by hand. Any questions? Yes or no? Okay, now, when you get to these parts, this is the only way it's going to look on y'all's EOC. Just put it in your calculator, okay? It says evaluate each expression, but answer in scientific notation. So do we leave our calculator in mode SCI? Yes. Now here's the deal. You could simply use the rule. What does the rule say? You would combine the numbers by multiplying. The tens have the same base, so what would I do with those exponents? Add them, but here's the problem. Sometimes it doesn't work out where it puts it in correct scientific notation form. Like the answer might have been 32. Well, that's not going to work for scientific notation because it has to be 3.2. So don't try to do these by hand. Put them in your calculator and it will do all the work for you. Does that make sense? Okay, so for number 7, you must use parentheses. Did everybody hear me? So here we go. Does everybody see the parentheses above the 8 and the 9? So open parentheses, 1.1 times 10. How do I get to the exponent? The little caret to the third power. Now stop and look at my screen. Can everybody see? Where is my cursor right now? Where's my cursor right now? On the exponent. So what would I have to do before? So look right now if I don't do anything. Does that look right? No. So I have to arrow out to make sure that that little cursor becomes bigger and normal. So now I can close it. And then open and put in the second part. And then arrow out and close it. Are we good? Hit enter, and that's your answer. Do you write the E? How would you write this? 2.75 times 10, so write that down, to the power of 12. Now this one actually worked out where it would have worked doing it by hand. You could have done 1.1 times 2.5, which is 2.75. And then are these bases the same? So you could have done 3 plus 9, which is 12. Again, it won't work every time because sometimes it won't give this number in proper form. Okay? All right, try this one on your own. And write your answer down. Would this one have worked by hand? Yeah, because 4 plus 5 is 9. So 3.4 times 2.8 only gave us an answer with one digit before the decimal, so it worked out. All right, try this one. I think this one wouldn't work by hand. I think it's this one. Let's go see. And make sure you put that negative exponent in. Yeah, this one wouldn't have worked. So you write your answer, 1.274 times 10 to the 5th power. Now, if I had done this by hand, let me get in normal mode. Y'all look real quick. I would have done 2.6 times 4.9, and this is the problem right here. Scientific notation says you can't have 2 digits before the decimal, right? But are those the same digits as this? You see what I'm saying? So my answer would have been 12.74 times 10 with an exponent of 4, because negative 3 plus 7 is 4, which is the same answer, but not scientific notation form. Make sense? All right, let me go back to mode SCI. Okay, let's skip this one. Let's go to the division ones. Now, listen, there are 2 ways you can do these. You can use the division button, or you can use alpha y equals. But you need to put them in what? You need to put them in parentheses. It needs to know that these belong to each other. Okay, so the first one I'll do division. So I open parentheses, 16.3. And then I hit divide. Tab out, and there's my answer. 3.2 times 10 to the 5th power. What's the other way I could have done this? Alpha y equals. Again, if I use alpha y equals, still use the parentheses. So I'll show y'all, it should give us the same answer. Did I get the same thing? Yes. Does it matter which way you choose to do it? No, but what do you need to put? Parentheses. All right, y'all try this one. And I don't care which way you do it. You pick which one you like. Okay, do we need to do any more scientific notation? Yes or no? Okay, go to the bottom. Let's just do a quick review of what we learned. This is not scientific notation. So should I be in scientific notation mode anymore? No. So where do I go? Mode. How do I get back to normal? Have to hit enter. Okay, so everybody look. How would I do this one? 9 times negative 5 is negative 45. Since the w's have the same base, what would I do to their exponents? 3 plus 2 is 5. On this one, 8 needs to be raised to the, and h squared needs to be raised to the 3rd power, so I would multiply them, which is 6. Look at this one. What is 15 divided by 5? 3 goes on top. Y to the 12 minus 3. What'd y'all say? 9. And then this one, can you have a negative exponent? It goes to the, so I have 1 over 9 squared. Okay, put your name on it. This whole paper is wanting the answers in what form? So right at the top, you need to be in mode SCI. The calculator will do all of the work for you. Yes? So make sure you use your parentheses. Can you have negative exponents? Yes, this is scientific notation. And go ahead and do the whole thing because, the calculator's going to do it all for you. It shouldn't take very long at all. Do you have any questions?